Hello everyone, Seth Alchemist here. Thank you very much for tuning in. I truly appreciate your support. Today, I want to talk about occult secret societies and their impact on the world. This is a subject that brings a lot of controversy, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories about this, and I want to clarify it to you. The first thing that comes to mind when you say secret societies is basically these societies that control the world, that are behind the scenes, that control everything. Before I elaborate on this and explain it properly, we have to understand where this concept came from, secret societies, and why is it secret? This goes all the way back to ancient Egypt, to the mystery schools, to the temples of initiation. In ancient Egypt, only certain people were picked and chosen to be given a certain knowledge and certain wisdom. These people usually had to be educated, they had to be high society, they had to be able to write and read, because back then only the high society people, the people with the high status, were able to read and write. The commoners, the regular people, were not able to read and write. And this knowledge was only given to certain people who were picked. They were chosen by a board of important members, and these people, they're usually elders, and they pick who gets to become initiated. And the person who gets initiated is taught and given the knowledge and wisdom that has been passed down for generations. But this knowledge and wisdom have been kept secret. So why is it secret? First of all, it is secret so it can be protected. Because when something is just given out there to the public, it is usually changed, manipulated, misunderstood, and eventually lost. And this even happens with the things that I share. Based on my experience for the past 6 years of sharing with you whatever I'm sharing, a lot of the times the information that I share for free is either misunderstood, misplaced, misused, or completely taken out of context. When you share the knowledge that people are not ready for. In these videos where I share with you certain information weekly, along with my tarot readings, I always choose what to share, because certain things you're not ready to hear. Certain things you don't want to hear. But humanity, when they don't want to hear something, they don't stop just there. They're going to make sure to take what you share out of context and taint your reputation. And they go above and beyond to make sure that because they heard something they didn't want to hear, something that goes against their beliefs, they want to bring you down. Because it's the nature of humanity, especially in this day and age. Well, it has been like this since the beginning. Humans have never changed. They just repeat cycles. You think humans are changing? You think humans are becoming more enlightened? If that's what you're told, then maybe you're living a delusion. Humans have never changed. Never. In ancient times, kings and royals were obsessed with power, conquering lands, seeking eternal life. Go read ancient civilizations. Read the rulers. See what they did. From the Persians to the Greeks to the Romans to the Egyptian pharaohs, all of them obsession with power and control. Here's the question. What have changed compared to today? What have changed? The answer is nothing. It's the same. The rulers, the people are still obsessed with power and control, and the same thing that humans were obsessed with for thousands of years. And that's why you cannot change the world. You're here to change yourself. You're here to save yourself. You're not here to save the world. The world is not going to change. I don't mean to sound cynical. I mean to sound realistic. I mean to sound practical. I'm not saying you're not supposed to help people. I'm not saying don't go and help people in need. But I'm saying you can't change the world. And if you think that technological advancements is what some people consider as changing the world, oh, look, we have electricity. Oh, someone invented electricity. Someone invented technology. Someone invented the phone, and now we have smartphones. Someone invented the internet. If you think that's what's changing the world, then here's my question to you. How come even with these advancements, we still have wars and killing? These inventions, did they really change the world? There has been other races that lived on Earth, and they were way more advanced than humans, way more. Races that we've never heard of, that lived on Earth millions and millions of years ago. And cycles are just repeating. Nothing changes. Those races were gone. They lived for millions of years and they're gone. So I digressed a little bit here. But secret societies were put in place, and this comes from ancient Atlantis, and it was passed down to the Egyptians. They were put in place to protect the wisdom and knowledge so it's not put out of context, so it's not misused, so it's not misunderstood. Especially that there's some certain knowledge, like magical practices, that can be used for harm. They can be used for manipulation. What do you think religion is anyways? Religion was created for manipulation. Religion has a lot of knowledge and wisdom, but it is used only for manipulating people. It's not used for liberating people, it's used for manipulating them. So these secret societies were created thousands of years ago, starting with Egypt. And only the few were picked to hold this knowledge, to be the gatekeepers of this knowledge. But then you might ask, well, Seth, why doesn't everyone learn this knowledge? How come the public doesn't have this knowledge? Nowadays, compared to ancient times, this knowledge is more accessible, thanks to the internet. In ancient times, it was only accessible to the few. The reason why it was not shared with the public is because how can you share higher knowledge with people who are stupid? That's my question. What do you think they're going to do with it? A knife, a sharp knife, can be used to either cut the food and vegetables and make a delicious meal, or you can use it to stab someone. So before you can use a knife properly, you have to understand that, hey, killing is a bad thing. You're not supposed to do that. Just because someone makes you angry and upset, you're not supposed to go stab them. And when that person becomes aware of the fact that, oh, killing is bad, now they're aware of it, then you give them the knife. And you trust them that they're not going to kill using that knife, and that they're going to use it for cooking and making a delicious meal, or as a tool for something else. That's how knowledge and wisdom is, and that's why it was not shared with the public. Because the public, the normal people, are not aware of a lot of things. Sometimes they don't know what's good and what's bad. Sometimes they don't know that you're not supposed to use this a certain way because you're going to cause harm. The law of cause and effect, the law of karma. A lot of regular people, even nowadays, I'm not even speaking of ancient times, it applies to now as well. A lot of people have no idea of these things. So imagine if you start sharing this knowledge with them, what they're going to do with it. And especially with the people who are holding onto some belief systems or programs, it's even worse with those people, because some people are so not awakened and so not aware to the point that if you challenge their belief system, they're going to kill you for it. They're going to kill you for it. You don't dare challenge their belief system, because that's the only hope they have in life. So it's like taking their hopes away from them. I'm aware of these things. And that's why when you talk, you have to be careful about the things you say. Because some people, if you challenge what they've been taught since they were young, or their religion or their God, if you challenge that, not only they're going to hate you, they're going to come after you. And that's why this knowledge was kept secret in secret societies. Because usually, either in ancient past or now, only few people are ready for it. And even now, nothing has changed, as I have said. Even now, only few people are ready to hear it. And it's going to be always like this. As long as Earth exists, nothing is going to change. Only the very few are willing to hear this knowledge and wisdom that encompasses the creation of the universe, occult practices, magic. So this started in ancient Egypt and eventually transferred to ancient Greece, because everything that the Greeks had was from ancient Egypt. You know that, right? I'm pretty sure that some of you already know that. Everything that the Greeks had, including their gods, was from the Egyptians. Everything. So the Greeks started to have their occult societies, their mystery schools as well. And they started sharing occult knowledge and wisdom, and even mathematics and geometry and sacred geometry was part of it. Because how do you think Plato learned everything he knows? And how do you think Pythagoras learned everything he knows about geometry? He learned it from the Egyptians, from an Egyptian temple. And these people, by the way, that right now we just throw their names, Pythagoras, Plato, Herodotus, Aristotle, and so on and so forth, they were part of these mystery schools that only the elite were part of. Pythagoras had to fast for 40 days before he was accepted inside an Egyptian temple to learn knowledge. He had to fast for 40 days. That was the condition. Fast 40 days and we'll see if we can accept you. And he did. And they accepted him. And that's how he learned everything he knows. And this transitioned over time, eventually to other empires, other societies, until it has reached Europe. And it's even the reason why I'm sharing this knowledge with you. The reason why there is information about alchemy, about witchcraft, about tarot, about occult and magic. It's because some secret societies, hundreds of years ago in the Middle Ages, made sure that this knowledge stayed intact. It's thanks to these secret societies, because if it wasn't for these secret societies, the religion, especially in Europe with the church, would have annihilated everything. We wouldn't have any of this information right now. Nothing would have existed. It's these secret societies that made sure that this knowledge was intact. At least we have something left, some leftovers. Because a lot of things were destroyed. A lot. And I know that some of you might think about the Library of Alexandria. But what if I tell you that the Library of Alexandria was never destroyed? Those books and those manuscripts and all of that knowledge that talks about the ancient past of Earth and who was on Earth and the gods that lived on Earth and Atlantis, all of that knowledge still exists. You think that they're just gonna burn that? The people who burned it, whoever they were, because everyone says a different story about who burned the library. Everyone says something different. Because there's no proof. We don't have an actual proof. No one was there filming saying, hey, look, these people are burning the library. So everyone wrote something different. They were trying to take over that knowledge. So they made it look like it was burnt, but the knowledge that was inside of it was kept and it was transported somewhere else. Some people say it's in the Vatican. It's not in the Vatican, but it's somewhere else. And some people have that knowledge. And you know who have that knowledge? Again, secret societies. They're the ones who have that knowledge. They have those manuscripts. They have those books from the Library of Alexandria. Why do they have it? To protect it from being destroyed again. So that knowledge still exists, and it's only very few people who are picked. Again, just like in ancient Egypt, the tradition hasn't changed. Only few people are picked to keep that knowledge intact. And those people know everything that has happened on Earth since before even Atlantis. And they know actually the real story of what really happened, not the stuff you hear in religions here and there all across the world, and you don't know what's true and what's not. It's a bunch of information all over the place, and everyone is confused, and no one really knows what the hell happened, how everything started. So that's the purpose of these secret societies. And most of them are not known. So here's the thing. A lot of people say, well, the Theosophical Society, with Madame Blavatsky. Or they will tell you, oh, the Illuminati, the rumors about the Illuminati. No. The real secret societies, no one knows what they're even called. No one knows who are the members. Stop falling for these things that you just hear everywhere. And the people who spread this stuff, they know nothing about nothing. People are just regurgitating what they hear because people just want to say something for the sake of saying it. The wise one listens more. They listen more than what they talk. The stupid one, the profane, talks more. They want to be loud and they want to be heard. And it works. People fall for that because the majority of humans are stupid. So they fall for the other stupid. Because if you're stupid, you're going to fall for other stupid people. So the people who are loud and they talk a lot, they're the ones heard in this day and age. That's why they have the most following. That's why they're the most famous people on earth. Because they just talk and talk and talk and talk. And the other stupid people, who are the majority of humans, they're just like, oh, they're talking. Oh, they must be very knowledgeable because they're talking. The true masters are usually quiet. You have 2 ears and only 1 mouth, so you can listen more and speak less, as Lao Tzu has said. And as a wise master said once, if you don't have anything more beautiful than silence to say, don't say it. If what you have to say is not more beautiful than silence, then don't say it. Have you ever seen a wise master being like talkative and loud and all over the place and blah, blah, blah? Would you trust such a person? Would you learn from such a person? Wise masters are always still. They barely move. Because stillness is alignment. And what do you align with? With creation, with existence. Rocks are still. They're silent. Trees are still, they're silent, but they represent nature, and nature is spirit. But in this day and age, the most popular, famous people in the whole world are the loud people who talk so much, they don't stop. So these secret societies, they do still exist. And they're not the ones who control the world. They're not the Illuminati. That's a different thing. And some of you might ask about, well, what about the Freemasons? The Freemasons, they do exist all around the world. And they are kind of a secret society, not anymore, because they're very public right now. And to reach the higher degrees, like the 30th, 32nd, 33rd degree, that's not easy. But to just go and say, I'm a Freemason, I'm a Freemason, that's easy nowadays. Some people say, oh, well, they are controlling the world, they are the Illuminati. Even the Freemasons within themselves, they have different groups and different sects, depending on the country, depending on the region, because it has spread all around the world. Their main goal is still the same, but you're going to find a lot of differences depending on the country, depending on the area. Think of it as like a religion. Abrahamic religions, they're kind of all the same, but they have different concepts, different ideas, different ways of worship, different prayers, different customs, but they kind of all worship one God. It's monotheistic, right? So with Freemasonry, it's the same. The main idea is the same, but the practices and the customs are kind of different depending on the lodges, on the temples, depending on the country. But where Freemasonry is still intact and still true to its own origin is mainly in two places in the world. Paris, France, and specifically Paris, and then the US. Those are the two places where Freemasonry is still properly adopted. Adopted from where? From the Templars. Because the Freemasons are the descendants of the Knights Templar. Freemasons, before they were Freemasons, they were the Knights Templar, who protected the Crusades and who became very powerful and wealthy. I'm talking about the Templars, about the Knights Templar. They became so powerful and so wealthy in medieval Europe. The reason why is because when they went to the Middle East, when they were protecting the Crusades and they arrived at the Middle East, they found some secrets, some manuscripts, some books. Some of it could be from the Library of Alexandria, actually. The knowledge from the Temple of Solomon or whatever was left over there. And that knowledge that they found gave them that power. And they became wealthy and rich because they were making a lot of money from the Crusades, because they were protecting the Crusades. So the Crusades were paying them a lot of money. So over the years, they built incredible wealth, but they were very organized. They were homogeneous. They coordinated everything perfectly from one country to the other, from one end to the other end. And that's how they built their power. And when they were prosecuted in the 1300s by France, by the King of France, which marked the end of the Templars, of the Knights Templar, and all of Europe, with the leadership of the King of France, turned against them, including the Church and the Pope. They all turned against them and wanted to prosecute and kill every single one of them. When they did that, some of them knew that was going to happen. They predicted it because they had an incredible system or channel of information all across Europe They were able to circulate the information efficiently, so they knew that they were going to be prosecuted, and some of them take all of their knowledge, books, treasures, and they hid it in two places because they had to run away from France and other parts of Europe. They were told by two places that they're guaranteed protection for their knowledge, for their treasures, for their books, for their whatever they built. Those places were Portugal, the port of the Graal, the Holy Grail, and Scotland. Those are the two places they migrated to flee the prosecution from the King of France. But they had to do it in secrecy because now the church was after them. The King of France and most of Europe were after them. They were trying to kill them, arrest them and kill them. So they hid there for a while, and then they went to continue or establish their empire in the new land of America. So they are the builders, they're masons. Masons are builders, and the builders, they know how to build. And they know how to build following what? Following geometry. Because if you don't understand geometry, you can't build. And that's why there's a G in the middle of their logo. It stands for geometry, it stands for God, it stands for gold, turning lead into gold. That G has a lot of meanings. It's not just one meaning. And that's why in their logo, there's a compass and a ruler. Because what do you need to build? First of all, in your plans, in your blueprints, you need to trace the lines. You need a compass and a ruler. That's what you need. So they're masons, they're builders. They built the United States of America. And that's why some of the first presidents of the United States of America were publicly, officially Freemasons. Coming from Europe, they took all of that knowledge that they have acquired over hundreds of years, and they used it to build the United States of America. I don't know about Southern America, but the United States for sure. It's just the way the US was built. And for all of you Americans who are watching, that's the history. And for the Freemasons, everything dates back to King Solomon. The knowledge of Solomon for them is the ultimate thing. And that's why you see in their symbolism a lot of Kabbalah, the tree of life from the Kabbalah, and a lot of concepts that come from the Kabbalah, from the Jewish tradition. After they were prosecuted by Europe, they did become a secret society to preserve and keep the knowledge that they have acquired. But nowadays, they're not as secret as how they used to be. That's why you can go to many establishments and see their logos there. The logo of the Freemasons is everywhere in Paris. I saw it myself. You see it in so many buildings, it's incredible. There's even the Museum of Freemasonry in Paris. I visited it. It was a beautiful museum. It was incredible. So right now it's public. It's not that secret anymore. But the high degree Masons hold knowledge that very few people know. That is true. So how does that relate to this Illuminati thing? These people who control the world, or the New World Order, or all of this symbolism that is used in the American dollar, in the $1 bill. There's a lot of stories about that, right? Well, symbolism, just like alchemy and Hermeticism, is the key of preserving the knowledge. I have said this in many of my other videos. Why do you think I love tarot so much? Because it's all about symbolism. Because symbols are art, and art doesn't die. Art lives forever. So the more symbols you use, the more the knowledge is going to be preserved and will live longer and longer. That's why alchemy is full of symbolism. Real alchemy, not spiritual alchemy. Instead of writing paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs about explaining one thing, I can just draw a sigil for you and you'll understand it. This sigil means this whole page. If you see it, you're like, oh, I know what this means. So that's why the Freemasons use symbology. And they adopted that from alchemy, from Hermeticism, because they got their hands on a lot of knowledge and wisdom from ancient past. So they know, they know alchemy very well. The Freemasons, they know alchemy well. They know Hermeticism very well. Occult practices, magic, they know this stuff. This Illuminati thing is another sect. It's another group. It's another secret society that was secret as well. Some people relate it to Freemasons. Some people say no, it's separate. But as I have mentioned earlier, Freemasonry spread around the world so much that it became fragmented. The Illuminati could be, I'm not telling you this is what it is, but I'm just saying it could be a branch of the Freemasonry, a branch, a separate branch that was created from Freemasonry, that has its own members that control it, and so on and so forth. But the people who control the narratives, they control Hollywood, they control celebrities, they control what should be popular or not, they control the trends. Are those the Freemasons? My answer is no. That's not Freemasons. Are those some group of people who want to control the world for power, for money? Yes. Is the name of that group the Illuminati? Maybe. Maybe they are the Illuminati, or maybe they're called something completely different. Because at the end of the day, these are all just rumors. One thing I'm certain of is that, yes, there is a group of people who are trying to control a lot of things happening in the world for the sake of power, because they would just want more money and more power. That's the only reason. And they will do anything to gain that power and control. There's no cost. It doesn't matter how many people are supposed to die. Their cause is money and power, and they will do anything to attain it. Anything. Do they have knowledge and wisdom that others don't know? Here's the problem. Yes. Because they're powerful people and they're connected. So some of the knowledge could have spread from the Freemasons or from other secret societies to this group. So they do know things that the public don't know. And that's unfortunately the dangerous part, because they're using that knowledge and that wisdom that they have attained throughout any means for bad, to control humanity, not to help it. That's the problem. As I have said earlier, it's a knife. What are you going to use it for? They're using it to kill people instead of cooking a delicious meal. But regardless, they're only harnessing bad karma. They're accumulating bad karma, and they're going to be punished for it. The universe is witnessing that. And if they're not going to get punished in this lifetime, they will in the next, or in the one after it. There was once this tyrant, a very, very bad person in ancient time, who committed atrocious crimes and just things you can't imagine. Killed a lot of people and caused a lot of suffering and harm, and he was just a bad soul. The punishment for that person was that in that same lifetime, nothing happened to him. He lived while committing all of those crimes. He was a tyrant until he died. After his death, his punishment was as follows. He was going to be reincarnated as a snake. in the first lifetime as a snake. And then he was going to be hunted and eaten by another animal. And after that, he was promised 7 lifetimes in hell. Not one time, but 7. And in the lower hells, which are the worst hells you can be at, before he could pay back his karma and go back to zero. This is just him going back to zero, not accumulating good karma. 1 lifetime as a snake and being hunted by another animal and eaten by another animal, and then 7 lifetimes in hell, just to pay back the karma of 1 lifetime being a tyrant. I hope this can help you understand that the bad people who are doing bad things, they're not gonna get away with it. They're not. If they seem like their life is great and they're not being punished in this lifetime, you have no idea what's awaiting them. What's awaiting them is really good luck to them with that. Good luck. So, to go back to the secret societies, their main goal is to preserve the knowledge. And this, by the way, exists in all the fields. It exists in alchemy. There are secret societies of real alchemists, not spiritual alchemists. Real alchemists that still exist nowadays. And they still hold the knowledge of alchemy, and every member in that group have reached the philosopher's stone. They have actually made it the actual stone. And there are mystery schools, you can call them whatever you want, or groups that keep this knowledge. And it's only normal that the keepers of this knowledge and wisdom are very educated people. They're highly aware. They exist at a very high level of knowledge and wisdom. So yes, they're not normal people. They do, however, disguise themselves as normal people. They do disguise themselves as normal people. But you'll know them if you ever meet one of them. Thanks to these societies, we do have this knowledge. I'm sharing it with you. I'm sharing some of it with you. And in your turn, maybe you're going to share some of it with other people, maybe with your kids, maybe with your friends, maybe with other strangers. And they will do that as well in their turn. And that's how that ripple effect starts small and becomes big. You throw a rock in a river in one side of the world, and it becomes a wave at the other side of the world. So when you hear these groups or secret societies, don't be scared. Don't think that, oh, they're controlling the world and they're bad people. And yes, there are groups like that, as I have just mentioned, and they do bad things, and they use magic and the occult and all of this beautiful knowledge. They use it for the bad. The same way how in ancient times, in ancient Egypt, when magic was prevalent, people used magic for good or for bad. It depends on what you do with that knowledge. What do you do with it? It's not that it's bad. What do you do with it is gonna dictate if it's good or bad. If you use magic for good, then it's good. Then it's beautiful. But if you use it for bad, then it's harmful, then it's bad. That's it. It's as simple as that. So some groups, yes, they're gonna use this for bad things. And they're gonna do all of probably the rumors you hear, the sacrifices and human sacrifices. Can you imagine? Oh yeah, human sacrifices. And they'll do the most unimaginable, atrocious things to gain what they want. But yes, they are bad. But does that mean that other groups are also bad? No. Other groups are the complete opposite. They're doing their best to protect this knowledge and to teach it to good people who are going to do good and who are going to help humans become the best version of themselves. Yin and yang. Wherever there's good, you're going to find bad. Wherever there's the sun, you're going to find the moon. At least that's how it works on Earth. We are bound by this duality. It's one of the Hermetic principles. You can't escape it. If you want peace, there's going to be war. Unfortunately, I wish it was different, but it's only different in other realms. In other realms, it's not like this. On Earth, it's dual, always. So your job as the wise one who's building a beautiful path for yourself is to always be aware that you're going to use this for good, that you're going to use this to help people, to help yourself, to become the best version possible of yourself. And that's why I always say, become your philosopher's stone. That's what I mean. And the people who are using that for bad, trust me, the karma that's awaiting them, the punishment, they're being taken care of. Don't focus on them. Focus always on the positive side of things, even when it comes to this field. Focus on what's good. So this is what I have for secret societies. I just wanted to share with you some of that knowledge in case you were wondering about it. Because I don't want you to be scared, because again, fear is an illusion. There's nothing to be scared of. Nothing. The people who choose to do bad, they're only hurting themselves. I hope this will help you along your journey. And let me know in the comment section, what do you think about secret societies, mystery schools? Do you have any information about that? What is your experience with this kind of information? Was it scary? Did you fall for some conspiracy theories before? Or did you know that some of these secret societies are trying to help people only behind the scenes? Because not everyone is ready for the knowledge that is hidden. Okay? Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.